want to know, and I'm being completely sincere, what's true, the true things are the things that you can't say. I cannot remember the last time someone in public life was prosecuted or even criticized for lying. If lying was a crime, I mean, your governor would be in Supermax for life. If being incompetent was a felony, she'd be on death row. Banning paint sales during COVID? It's unbelievable. But there's no penalty for lying, and there's no penalty for incompetence. So what do we penalize? Every society penalizes something. There's a death penalty offense in every society from the beginning of time. What's ours? It's telling the truth. If you tell the truth, the real truth, the no BS truth, like what's actually going on here? Is this actually working? And no, it's not. Why isn't it working? If you were to be honest about that, you're done. So you have to ask yourself, like, what does it say about a society where the only penalty is for noting what's true?
Tucker Carlson is absolutely unstoppable, and he just dropped some truth bombs that are going to inspire you like never before. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your patron professor, here to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. If you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Also, if you would be so kind, please share this video with friends and family. We're once again being suppressed by big tech, so I need your help to get the hopeful message of this channel out to as many people as possible. Tucker Carlson is once again lighting up the internet. He recently appeared in Utica, Michigan, speaking before a gathering of the Brighter Michigan Political Action Committee, and the truth bombs he dropped were astonishing. In fact, that was precisely the theme of the talk. Truth is now our primary weapon in a system that operates totally and completely by lies.
I'll stop at this. I think the only answer is to tell the truth calmly and slowly and fearlessly. Everybody knows what it is. They'll come at you. First, they'll tell you you're hurting someone's feelings, you're mean. That's always the first. Then they're trying to appeal to your basic decency and then subvert it. No one wants to be mean. They did this during COVID. Well, you should take the shot. Well, what's in the shot? Shut up and take it. But I don't need the shot. I already had COVID. You know, I'm 26. I just ran a Ironman. Shut up and take the shot. Well, what if I don't want to? You're killing your grandparents. Okay. And okay, so that's the first thing they do. They accuse you of being mean. Then the second thing they do is they call you insane. You're a conspiracy theorist. Really? If I were the sort of person who gloated, I would keep a list of all the times I personally have been called a conspiracy theorist or a wacko, and then compare them to the outcome 5 years later. They all turned out to be true. And I try to be a decent Protestant, not brag about myself, but like, the list is long. Very long. And then the third thing they do is just criminalize telling the truth. And you're seeing that now. There are people who are going to jail for non-trivial lengths. By the way, anyone who's ever been to a jail knows, and there are a bunch of sheriffs here, and they know best of all, any time in jail is not trivial. Any time behind bars. A drunk driving offense for a night can change your life. You don't want to go to jail. Period. It's not a joke. And anyone who tells you, oh, he's going to Club Fed where they have volleyball, right? Taking away a person's freedom and locking him in a cage where he can't see the stars at night is, short of killing him, maybe more than killing him, the gravest thing you can do to another human being. So no one should ever minimize the penalty of prison time or jail time. It's profound. It'll destroy you and your family. And they're sending people to prison for saying that the last election was rigged, which it was.
All right, so there's a lot there that I think is absolutely spot on that we can unpack. What's happening here, what Tucker Carlson is calling attention to, is actually something akin to what Soviet scholars called hyper-normalization. All right, it's a fancy term derived from studies of Russian citizens' dispositions and inclinations towards the end of the Soviet experiment. So what scholars found was that by the 70s and 80s, as the Soviet Union was beginning to wane, The vast majority of Russians knew that their system was totally corrupt and intellectually bankrupt. They knew it. They knew they were being lied to by their leaders, and they knew that their leaders knew that they were lying. But, and this is absolutely key, but even though everyone knew everyone was lying, the public nevertheless pretended to accept those lies. In other words, the lies basically became the social capital of society to such an extent that citizens had no other possible conception of society other than the lies. They knew everything was a lie, but they continued to accept the system because their cognized conception of reality could conceive of no other possible reality other than a system of lies. They remained in the system precisely because they found it impossible to imagine an alternative system. It's like a failed marriage that nevertheless persists because the couple has no idea how to end it. This is what scholars call hyper-normalization. It's a fraud that has, in effect, been normalized. Everyone knows that the powers that be are a corrupt fraud, but they put up with it anyway because they simply can't imagine an alternative. And it is precisely that kind of society that Tucker's calling all of us to resist, and we resist it by courageously speaking the truth. Again, what we have to get here is that all of these lies and intimidation tactics seek to do is deliberately fabricate a society where people comply precisely because they've lost any sense of an alternative to that compliance. I'll say that again. These cultural Marxists, like the Soviet Marxists of old, these woke Marxists, are deliberately attempting to fabricate a society where people comply precisely because they've lost any sense of an alternative to that compliance. The purveyors of wokeness and their twisted morality demand a hypernormative world where wokeness is the only alternative. There's no basis for legitimate dissent. And so what Tucker's saying here is that the ultimate expression of dissent today in a world built on lies is courageously speaking the truth. Hey, gang, as you can see, patriots across the nation are rising up, just like the amazing patriots who are dear friends to this channel, and that's the makers of Old Country Soap. Made on a farm in South Dakota using traditional techniques and only locally sourced special ingredients without the harsh chemicals that can dry out your hair and skin, every single bar includes pure and unfiltered bentonite clay that works wonders, helping to soothe and relieve dry and sensitive skin. I mean, it's known for its healing properties that helps with psoriasis and eczema. It also pulls dirt and oil from pores, helping to clear up acne. I mean, it's amazing stuff. It works great for your hair. You can use it to shave. It's safe for your pets. You will definitely want to welcome this great American-made all-purpose soap into your wonderful homes. And to make it even better, all purchases include a shower-enhancing, exfoliating sisal fiber soap bag. It's a far better alternative to store soaps and actually very reasonably priced compared to the other natural options in the market. You'll be very, very pleasantly surprised. And of course, to top it all off, they're all made in the USA. Use promo code TURLEY for an exclusive 20% discount off your order, and every order will include an extra gift. Just pay the shipping. It's more than worth it. You're going to love it. So go ahead, reward yourself with this amazing Patriot product. You will not be disappointed.
How can you say the last election was rigged? Well, when the country's largest law enforcement organization, the FBI, actively works on behalf of one political party, and when its largest intelligence gathering agency, the CIA, does the same, it's a little bit like what's happening in Michigan. When federal employees paid for by the tax dollars of everyone take an aggressive position on the side of one political party, you can't have a fair election because you're using public money to put your thumb on the scale on behalf of a partisan cause. It is totally immoral. And it's not free and fair. If our election took place in Bolivia, the 2020 presidential election took place in Bolivia, I can promise you the State Department would report back and say that was not a free and fair election. And Wikipedia would report it was a clouded election because there was fraud and interference, which there was. if some oligarch, some tech oligarch, spent nearly $500 million to control the mechanics of the Bolivian election in 2020, we would say it's not a legitimate election. But when Mark Zuckerberg does it in the United States, he's just helping with COVID. Yeah, he's really afraid of COVID, I'm sure. Yeah. So for saying that out loud, people are going to prison. And of course, the whole point is to convince you not to say it out loud. So don't let them. That's the only point. Don't let them. And if you keep telling the truth, some of you probably get indicted by Dana Nessel. Well, you're going to women's prison, a little better. But still prison. But it's worth it. Anyway, don't be intimidated. Your children's future depends on your bravery.
The great Soviet dissident Alexander Solzhenitsyn once said, "The simple step of a courageous individual is not to take part in the lie. One word of truth outweighs the world." One word of truth outweighs the world. Simply put, speaking the truth is our greatest weapon. In a world built on lies, speaking the truth is the single most devastating weapon to bring down such a world. And so Tucker is actually drawing from a very time-tested principle here. Truth is what ultimately brought down the Berlin Wall, the Soviet Union. Truth in the hands of the likes of Alexander Solzhenitsyn and the Czechoslovakian dissidents Václav Havel and Václav Benda and their efforts at building a parallel economy in the 1970s and 80s in the midst of the Soviet-dominated Eastern Europe. All of this is what ultimately brought down a Soviet system built on lies. This is what Tucker's calling all of us to commit ourselves to. In a world built on lies, our greatest weapon is the truth. And that is what ultimately will indeed set us free. Are you ready to join the resistance? Because I'm leading a group of dedicated, courageous patriots who can lead a spearhead into the heart of the secular globalist establishment. We punished Bud Light and Target, driven CNN and the legacy media to near bankruptcy, forced BlackRock to backtrack on ESG, and now we're seeing our conservative-dominated Supreme Court ending affirmative action and protecting religious liberty. In my Insiders Club, I show you concrete steps to take locally and online that will only keep this mass uprising going until the battle is won. Don't wait. Click the link in my description below and join my Courageous Patriots Insiders Club today.